like, you know what? I can't be teaching for so long when I now know quite a little stuff about programming. Jude is like the founder of Get Equity. So he posted on X that smart contract auditors earn $15,000 per month. I'm like, oh, really? Is there a job that pays somebody $15,000 per month?
I want to call it like an Anambra boy or like an Igbo guy because it was your driving force.
Yeah. It was money that actually drove out of that I applied for like Web3 Bridge. Web3 Bridge just came at the right time, providing internet, food, accommodation. Yeah. I'm like, this is what I need. My notion, right, for contributing to work that you can do great things from a small place. Yeah, right. So we just have to not stop, and we have to just keep creating. You have to have like an abundant mindset that no matter what comes my way, I can do this.
Yeah, no.
There's no field, there's no profession, there is no job where it's a get rich quick scheme.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Alumni Spotlight, and today we have, drumroll please. Okay, now we have Pamilerin in the house. Yeah. I want to say your full name. We have Pamilerin Ayomitan.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well. I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, that's great. So I think I know you like to an extent. So I want you to introduce yourself, like briefly. Introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, hi guys. Like she said, my name is Ayomitan Pamilerin, right? And I'm a software developer and also open source thinker and also a creator, right? I enjoy creating codes, content, and also products, experimenting with various ideas, right? Other than that, I play musical instruments, right? Outside of work, right? Which is the bass guitar. And yeah, pretty much. And I like learning new stuffs. In this case, it helps me to like, learn new landscapes, right? Also, that's pretty much about me, right? So recently I started learning how to swim. I mean, cool.
Nice.
So because, when accident or something, emergency happens, I can, swim around the ocean and whatnot. Other than that, that's pretty much about me. And yeah.
All right, nice. A very nice introduction. So seeing that you drove here today, I feel like it's proof that you've come a long way after you left Web3 Bridge. So what was life before you found Web3 Bridge?
Oh, nice. So the life before I found Web3 Bridge was trying to juggle between finding my foot in tech, right? Because originally I found out tech from like a friend while I was serving, right? Like my service here, the guy would being indoor and writing codes, building website for people. And at the time, it was earning like 200K per site. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I studied accounting. And I'm like, okay, who's this guy? That's like my monthly salary as like a banker at the time. And I'm like, this person gets it in one job building website. So I'm like, okay, you know what, just tell me about this. And at the time, he taught me MySQL. I dumped it. Well, I tried to like figure out web development, right? At the time, I didn't have a laptop, so the school I was serving had, it was one of like the senator's school named after her. So they had like a library with these small books, laptops that are small. So I used that to like code, and so that means that I have to drop the laptop once I'm done serving, right? So I started using my phone also, right? I use SoloLearn a lot to like learn HTML, CSS, and whatnot. And then afterwards, I think Anambra at the time, that was where I served, was the highest paying state for coppers, right? So I saved up all of the money I got from my my service here, both from like federal government and from Anambra State. So I invested it in all these schemes that, you get 30% back or whatnot. So like, yeah, for quite a while, all my salary was there. And so when I finished service, right, I had to collect all of those savings and bought a laptop, right? Dell, to be precise. I mean, Dell is like the strong guys for for you just starting out, right? And so at the time, afterwards, I started learning. And then the major turning point was when I got my first job to build a website for someone, But before then, I was juggling teaching.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was not all smooth. So I had to pay for my data. I had to pay for all of those things. So I would usually do part-time teaching job. I was teaching business studies. I remember that I graduated as an accountant or in accounting. So I still had, those skills or those knowledge. So I was teaching mathematics and business studies to like junior students. So I was using that to like fend and pay for stuff, right? So afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I can't be teaching for so long when I now know quite a little stuff about programming, right? So I stopped teaching and I was looking for where to work that relates to computer. So I started working for a cafe or at a cafe per se. So the cafe pays me, say like 10,000 at the time. Yes, 10,000 naira. I mean, it's just to like buy data and whatnot, right? Afterwards, it was same cafe where I got my first clients to like build a website. So I'm like, okay, nice. So the person paid me. I had to buy like domain hosting and whatnot. So I got up to like 70K afterwards, right? I'm like, okay, cool. If I can get, a deal as this from building one website, I can do more, because even my friend started building websites. The person that introduced me to tech, right? And it was getting 200K. And I mean, I started with 70K. I'm like, okay, cool. So that was like the moment where it kind of like clicked that, okay, maybe I should like double down. And yes, since then I have been doubling down and, learning. So that's like what I've been doing before Web3 Bridge, practically just building website for people. And also, that's it.
It's not just practically just building websites, teaching, and a whole lot. I want to call it like an Anambra boy or like an Igbo guy, because it was your driving force.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we still get to the point where it was money that actually drove out that I applied for like Web3 Bridge.
Okay, I'd like it. Question. So in all of this, how did you find Web3 Bridge?
Okay, so I found Web3 Bridge on X. Okay. So I don't know if you know Polysaccharide. Jude. So Jude is like the founder of Get Equity. So he posted on X that smart contract auditors earn $15,000 per month. I'm like, oh, really? Is there a job that pays somebody $15,000 per month? And so in his next tweet the previous day, he now said, if you want to learn Web3, join Web3 Bridge. And at the time, I think Web3 Bridge, there was like, the form was opened, right? And so this was the point where I'm like, Pamilerin, you know what? let's do a little bit of transition. So that was when I applied for Web3 Bridge, because I'm like, so somebody can be earning $15,000 USD per month, which of course is true as a smart contract auditor, right? I'm like, okay, I want to do this. So I basically just, I was still coding, right? Pretty much. I was still building website, but on the side, I had to now apply. So once I got the email that, I'll be having an interview, I'm like, yes, this is it. So I did all of the tests, and by God's grace, I was accepted. And pretty much that was how, the journey started.
Awesome. That's like such a very lonely and money. Okay.
I mean, it's not like money driven. It's like, if you can invest your time in doing something that can bring so much return, then do it.
Actually.
Yes.
That's so nice. So when you got to Web3 Bridge, what was the experience like?
Out of the world, because I have not seen that kind of experience before. So just a quick note that while I was learning how to code, right, I applied for a bootcamp, or I paid for a bootcamp around the Ikorodu, somewhere close, New Horizon. But New Horizon wasn't so, I'm not bashing them. I wasn't getting a lot of drive with New Horizon. So what I did was, I'm like, I need a bootcamp that can be in person. That is not me just going and coming, or me being taught and not feeling it like that. So Web3 Bridge just came at the right time, providing internet, food, accommodation. Yeah. I'm like, this is what I need, that intensity, compared to like New Horizon, where you just go, sometimes, when you are done with coding, when you get home, maybe you get to have family issues that you have to kind of like. But in Web3 Bridge, you now have a family of people who are like driven towards the same goal. And that tenacity and intensity is one of the best things that actually happened to me. I mean, I was discussing with one of my friends saying we graduated from Web3 Bridge, which is Kelvin, where I mentioned that I'm still looking for a scenario where we'll be housed again for like the next 5 months. Because to be honest, we built a lot of grit, right? And so the kind of work that I do now is because of what I've been, how I've been incubated with that experience. So the experience is out of the world. Having the best tutor, who is like an industry leader, having like the community of people where you learn together. Sometimes we don't sleep, even though we are done with class, right? And seeing people around you who wants to do stuff and change the world, you have no choice than to also be motivated to want to change the world. So that's like the experience. The experience is giving me a mind shift towards a global contribution.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm really, really happy that that's your experience out of Web3 Bridge. So now this brings me to my next question. So currently you work at Kaya, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, Kaya Foundation.
Okay, great. So do you think Web3 Bridge have like a role to play? Because recently, just now you mentioned that, where you work now, it's part of like what you got from Web3 Bridge. So do you think Web3 Bridge had a role to play? And also, how did you like land your role at Kaya?
Oh, so the role, absolutely, because I currently work at a Web3 company, right? A layer one blockchain. So after Web3 Bridge, after I love the tenacity, now anybody was boiling, just graduated from the bootcamp, and you had a lot of, value you want to dish out. So before leaving Web3 Bridge, we started creating a lot of content. Some of us were creating videos. Some of us were writing articles. I was part of those people writing articles. And this time you infuse that in us where you have to share your value to the world. Because that's how people get to know you, that you do these things. So before I left the bootcamp, right, I was already publishing article. And then afterwards, my job came as a result of me creating. Right? I said that I love creating, whether it's code, content, or even experimenting with products, right? And so that was how my job came. After the bootcamp, everybody was hunting for hackathons. Did I mention that my first money I got from Web3 was from hackathon? We're in-house. Also, we applied for an hackathon, and we got like the prize money for like a sponsor pool. And before, when I was presenting, because we had quite a number of internet issues, I was saying, "Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?" So most times, my mates will like tease me and like, "Can you see my screen?" When we see each other outside, I'm like, "Can you see my screen?" I'm like, "You guys should just chill out." So that's first experience of winning hackathon money gave us like, so we can actually do this, right? Other than that, also, I think I won like the CTF prize during the bootcamp, which I also lost because I didn't have rigid experience on how to handle stuff. Right? What I'm driving at is after the bootcamp, we started now applying for hackathons because we had seen it happen in the bootcamp, right? Because we applied and won. So we applied for this hackathon and we got in. Then afterwards, I personally started scouting for hackathons to apply. Then I found this hackathon, Clayton and Covalent. At the time, Kaya was previously Clayton. It's like we kind of like amalgamated with Fincher, right? And so what that means is after the hackathon, when I built a product, I saw that it was EVM compatible, right? I'm like, okay, maybe I should start contributing here. So all of the knowledge that I had building on Ethereum, I just transferred it to Clayton at the time. So I was writing article, I was writing technical guides, I was building sample codes, and many of those things. So I was like really active even on the Discord, such that sometimes when developers come to the Discord, they're like, oh, they're looking for a solution, and the team member will just ask them to refer to my article. And so it went kind of like that for some months. And afterwards, I just got a DM that, do I have any partnership with them? I'm like, no, I'm just writing, right? Or I'm just doing my stuff. And it's like, do I need anything from them? Like, what do you mean, do I need anything? So yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Then he said, oh, we have so role. And it just linked me up with the head of technology advocacy. And so that was how we started. I did the interview, passed the technical round, and yeah. Awesome. That was how I got.
That's good. I think like there's a lot came from you being in Web3 Reach. Now I want to know, in what cohort exactly?
Cohort 6.
What year was that?
2022.
Awesome. That's so great. So now my next question is this from Ikorodu, because I know you mentioned that, you were already in Ikorodu before, then you certainly were like an on-site student, right? So being in Ikorodu now, from Ikorodu to Singapore, how, well, surprised I know that. So I want to understand, how's the feeling like, moving, like traveling internationally because of your work?
Yes. The feeling is like generational. When I say generational, it means that there's a lot of work to be done and that you can just be whatever team you want to be. And so it's generational because it's going to be with me till the end of my life, right? That I can fix my gaze on something and just become that thing, right? I mean, so what that means is that working with Kara at the time, with Clayton at the time, there was like a developer event, right, at Token 2049. So I had to be there to coordinate on, the event, especially for developers, because I work as a DevRel engineer. So we had to, coordinate this developer event where, and it kind of like went straight down to my bone out that I'm making contribution for the next phase of the internet, right? Where, it doesn't just stop here, because some of the sample codes that I build, some of the tutorials that I write will be used by builders who end up building really amazing stuff, which would, at the end of the day, be used by people globally. So that kind of made my notion, right, for contributing to work that you can do great things from a small place. Yeah, right. So we just have to not stop, and you have to just keep creating. Do you give us as a way to like reward people that don't stop creating?
I hope you guys get that. You don't have to stop. You just have to keep creating. Right. So now working in like the global space, what has it taught you that you didn't like expect it would?
Working in the global space, right, is basically the mindset that we now have, right? So that means that working with great people in your workplace, because they are going to be sharing values and knowledge that you don't have originally, right? And so that means that you can bring that even to like this current landscape in Africa, and also, incubate that, in Africa. And so that's like what I've seen in the past 3 years, working with an international company, the values, the ethics, and also the knowledge, and also the network, right? The network of people that you get to meet and you get to establish. Because at the end of the day, is part of what would help you to be able to accelerate in wherever you are creating codes, wherever you are creating content, or whether you are also building a product or a company. Because it's that network of people or network of amazing builders that you now have that help you accelerate those things, right? So that's like one thing that I've seen, working with an international company and also solving problems for the world in general, right? Because Kara is an high performance blockchain designed for enterprise solutions, where that means that you can build amazing use cases, and at the end of the day, it's being used widely by users globally, and that accelerates mass adoption, right? And so that's the kind of things that I've learned, that you are solving problems that are innate in your environment and is being used by people who actually need them.
That's great. That's very great. So now I want to know. I had you did something. Let me tell you. I want to know.
Yes.
So I had that outside your cohorts. You came back and just like say hello to our founder, and you gave him $300 at the time. So I want to know what like inspired that gesture.
Yes.
Because I know like a lot of people would think of coming to like give back, but you thought of it. And now you didn't give him a naira, you gave him $8.
Yes.
So I want to like understand what inspired that.
Yes. And because Mr. Ayo is like one of the best persons that I've met in my life. And, coming from somebody who was juggling teaching and trying to find his foot in tech, right? I had to skip a lot of uncertainties because I had a practical guide. Imagine if I had been on my own.
Yeah.
Imagine if I'd done it just by myself. And because there was like community, there was the support and all of those things. So it kind of like accelerated a lot of things. And so it just makes sense because afterwards, I told you I started with 70K, right? And working for like a global company, and you got like times 500 or something. And you're like, okay, cool. I mean, if you multiply 75K times 500, I don't know what that means, but yeah, getting that kind of X on your salary, it speaks a lot, right? So it just makes sense that, I mean, it's a story of the story in the Bible where, those people were grateful out of the turn and one came down. Right. So that's just practically it. And from my salary at the time, I had to also, just say, I appreciate the work that you do. And trust me, if I have more, I'm going to do more.
That's great. So I feel like you think giving back is a thing. So now you run a podcast, like a YouTube channel. So is that like a form of giving back to you?
Yes. Which is like based on the goal of trying to amplify founders, because Africa has like the sweet spot for all of the amazing use cases blockchain brings, right? Peer-to-peer payments, and also stable coins, real world assets and all of those things. So we have quite a number of amazing founders who are doing great stuff. And we also have a number of builders who knows how to build, who are great developers. And so who also are on the verge of wanting to build amazing products. So what Builders Block is doing is to give back in the sense that we are building that mindset that you can do what these people are doing, just to understand their journey, their struggle, and how that they've been able to get to where they are. So that's like a way of giving back to kind of like accelerate our product landscape, especially in Africa.
I feel like it's almost the same thing, or like similar to what we're trying to do now, right? Trying to make people see like, they too can be like great developers and all of that. Right. That's like a really good one. So let's talk about your YouTube channel. Why? I want to understand, why is it just centered around founders? Because you are a developer. But now, so people would like normally expect that, if you're going to like have a YouTube channel, it's going to be centered around developers. But you went as far as to have a YouTube channel that's centered around founders. Why?
Okay. So I mentioned that I love experimenting with products, right? Because at the end of the day, what I envision is also becoming a founder later.
Okay. I see.
Later in the coming months or like coming years, right? And so what I'm trying to do is also to understand their journey, their pain, their struggles, right? So also it's building their own mindset as to I can also do this, right? And also building other people's mindset who are currently in my shoes, who are trying to first make ends meet, or like still working for a company, but they have it in mind to build great products, right? Because we have a lot of builders like that who are, they are sufficient enough to build a product or a company, but they're still currently on like the own of working for other people, but they've not just transitioned yet. So what Build Up Block does is to help you see that you can be what these people are, and so at the end of the day, also accelerate our product landscape in Africa and Nigeria.
That's a good one. So now you've always had to be the host. How does it feel like? Because again, the idea is to bring founders into the spotlight. So now you are being brought into the spotlight. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to the fact that probably you have something going on first, right? And which is all tied back to the provision that Web3 made from the onset. And so without that, I may not have been in Web3. When I'll be at the counter counting cash or something. But where I feel honored, and I feel like I'm sharing my story to also like impact other people, which is great, to be honest. Being the lamp where other people see to shine on their own path also. So I think
nice.
It makes me feel like, the journey is just 0, still 0 yet. We're still going to 1. We're still in 0.2.
That's why you think you're still 0.
No, 0.2. 0.1. So that's still going to 1. We're in 0.1. I'm saying, yeah, it's cool.
So why didn't you remain as a musical, like playing like the musical instruments? Why did you decide to do that and not just play the musical instruments?
So you know what they say about like passion, yeah? Yes. So the idea is basically outside of work, I love to listen to music. I love to play music. And so that means that I think, was it last year? I went out on a show, like I went to play for a live band, right? Although the money was small, but I'm like, okay, you guys actually gave me money. Like, that's cool. I'm like, but I don't want to do this full time. But because I enjoyed playing, so I had to like, okay, it's fine. I'm going to give them like 5K or something. The guy came. Because I enjoy playing. I mean, all of the money was from the money that was paid to like the musicians, and so we just had to like share that amidst ourselves. Which of course is common. Okay, yeah, but I'm not doing this full time. But I'm doing it because I actually enjoy doing it. So I play bass guitar for my church. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, your journey sounds really amazing and inspiring, but I believe they were like difficult moments. So walk me through what was like the hardest or like the most difficult moment during your journey, and how were you able to push through?
Difficult moment. Not sure I have like one, because I see everything as part of like the journey, and it's just trying to forge a new skin, right? So you just need to stay. Difficult. I would like to attribute it to how that the space is fast paced, where you have to actually keep learning. And if you are not careful, you might be left behind, right? I mean, so you have to be on your 10 toes for some reasons. And so the difficulties around trying to catch up on these things. So what I do majorly is, there's a time I was dedicating 1 hour each day to like catch up on trends. And it's not about breadth, right? I don't know if you understand. It's not about breadth. And sometimes, because I name my niche, which is DevRel, I currently work as a DevRel. So I go more depth in that and try to like understand certain concepts, breadth, right? I cannot be in all, will I say, use case or niche, but I try to understand what's going on, the nitty-gritties and whatnot. They also have depth in certain niche. So that's how I kind of like figure out how to be, up and doing in the space. So I prioritize depth in one thing and breadth in other stuff.
That's a good one. So now a lot of people, are like lots of would I say like a lot of people in Ikorodu, really and beyond, are probably dreaming of, a breakthrough like yours. I'm saying like how you started earning from 70K to getting your job at Kaya. So what advice do you have for those kind of people?
The advice is just to first provide value. To be honest, don't stop creating. Like I mentioned, the universe has a way of rewarding people who are up and doing. It might just take time. It might just be you just being in that cycle of creating. But because you love what you're doing, right, you just keep doing it. And once the reward comes, you accelerate from there. And that's why you see successful people and you'll be like, oh, where is this guy from? Because you just met him or you just get to hear of him. But trust me, that's not been the time he has been grinding. He has been grinding way far than that. But when they come to the limelight, it's like, this one of an next success or anything. But it's always like that. So what our advice is create value. Your mindset also. I have an abundance mindset. It's really, really important. Don't look down on yourself that you can't do stuff. I mean, I've seen quite a lot in the industry. And what I tell myself is I can do more. And so some of the things that I do now is as a result of the fact that I know that I can do it. Even if I don't have the skills, you can learn the skills, right? So that would mean that even if you are not qualified for a job, trust me, you can apply for the job and learn in the job. So don't self-sabotage yourself, right? Exactly. The abundance mindset is really, really important. And also, be delusional.
Why do you say that?
To be delusional. I mean, it goes back to the point that, I can do this, like, I can't do this, right? So, regardless, because that would make you self-sabotage yourself. And it kind of like wires something in your head where even if you see something that you can do, you feel like you can't even do it. So you have to have like an abundance mindset that, no matter what comes my way, I can do this.
Yeah. No. So what about people who think that tech is a get-rich-quick scheme? What do you have for those people?
For those people, I think you have to have like a sort of reorientation. Right. There's a saying that for you to get to be an expert, it takes 10,000 hours for you to be an expert in certain things. And as a result of that, that would mean that you have to have done the work. Trust me, there's no field, there's no profession, there is no job where it's a get-rich-quick scheme. Whether you're working in oil and gas, whether you're working in government, tech is not, I don't want to say this, but see tech as a profession, right? And not just a place where you can go and say, when you spend 6 months, you can get a job.
Wow.
Do you get, when you spend 6 months, you can get a job that will change your lifestyle? Oh, no. Because there are a lot of people, I'm not saying that you can't get a job after 6 months, but the requirements are changing. Like the landscape is changing, what is required of you is changing, and you have to be able to keep up with that. So once you see tech as a profession and not a get-rich-quick scheme, because of course, that might be as a result of the fact that you've seen a lot of people transitioned and who are making it. But I think you are not considering the fact that they grounded, right? So because you see them now, maybe at events, speaking to people and all of those things, that doesn't mean that they haven't paid their own dues. So I think that for every profession, you have to pay your dues.
That's right.
So for you thinking that tech is a get-rich-quick scheme, you're on the wrong. Yes, you're on the wrong path. Yeah. So we have to pay your dues also. I mean, pretty much it.
Right. So finally, if we were like giving 60 seconds to pitch the power of Web3 bridge to a stranger, what would you say?
So it's talent wars for the next generation of builders. Right? One thing that I've seen to work everywhere for whether artists or for even for any type of profession, right? You agree with me that barbers, they go into apprenticeship, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Tailors, they do apprenticeship. So Web3 Bridge is like that talent warehouse that shapes how you'd accelerate in Web3 industry. So a webber have to do like 5 years before they kind of like graduate. And once they graduate, they're a boss on their own.
Yeah.
So same thing for Web3 Bridge. Web3 Bridge is that talent warehouse for, the next amazing stuff that you see in Africa, whether builders, whether founders, whether developers. I mean, quite often they have our guys from the cohorts. They are now founders.
Yeah.
They're working on something. A lot of us are still working with companies. So you see like a speck of different cadre and people springing up because Web3 Bridge is that talent warehouse for, the explosion that you see in the coming years.
Yeah. It's so great to have you, Pamilerin. And your story is like really, really inspiring. You know what I want you to do? I want you to like just quickly tell them your YouTube channel, maybe every social media handle that you have, so they can like, follow, watch, and also like get inspired.
Oh, yes, and for my YouTube channel, which is like focused on builders blogs, you can just search for Oxpam Pam, and also for my ex, oxpam_pam, and then LinkedIn also, it's Ayomitan Pamilerin. Pretty much it. So you guys should please subscribe.
Guys, subscribe to his channel. So we've come to the end of this episode, and I hope that you enjoyed this just as much as I did. See you on the next one. Do not forget to give this video a like, a comment, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Catch you on the next one. Bye.